Welcome to the Homeschool Mom Chat. Today I want to chat with you about the 6 questions that we can stop asking ourselves as homeschool moms and what we can maybe ask ourselves instead. If we haven't met, I'm Teresa Wiedrich. I'm a graduated homeschool mom turned certified life coach, and I'm here to help homeschool moms shed what's not working so they can show up in their homeschools and in their lives confidently, authentically, and purposefully. So if we haven't met, it's lovely to meet you. I'd love to hear about you and who you are homeschooling. So share that in the comments below. And if you have any thoughts after our conversation about the questions that we almost interrogate ourselves with, I would love to hear a common question that you think that needs to be included in this conversation. So on today's episode on the Homeschool Mama Self-Care Podcast, I speak about the challenge of being behind. We homeschool moms often feel a sense of dread that we are behind. We notice that in various places. Sometimes we notice it in the season of being a new homeschool mom. We wonder if we're going to be behind if we don't put our kids back into school quickly, or if we do put our kids back into school, will they be behind? Or we wonder if, when we're moving into the homeschool high school years, if the transition means that they will be behind. Or we wonder if our kids are behind when we notice someone doing something that we aren't doing in our homeschools. Or maybe there's something that we've heard the neighbors' kids are doing, and we wonder if our kids are behind because they're not doing those things. Or probably the most challenging is when one sibling is far more advanced than another in some area, and so we wonder if a particular child is behind. So I discussed the common conversation point about being behind on the Homeschool Mama Self-Care Podcast. You can find that podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, so here are the 6 questions that I think we can stop asking ourselves and what we should ask ourselves instead. So the first one, when will my child catch up? Catch up. Kind of like a behind question, except maybe we could be asking, is our child really making progress? Do they need to catch up to something specific? Is there a reason they need to catch up, or can they just go at their own pace? That's the beauty of the homeschool life, that kids can learn and engage different things at their own pace. It is easy to fall into the trap of comparing our kids to traditional school kids and traditional school timelines. It's kind of our natural default setting in this culture to compare our kids to the school timelines, or sometimes to other homeschoolers, and as I said, even to their siblings. But the beauty of this homeschool thing is that kids can grow at their own pace. They can go into deep dives into subject areas that they might not do in schools. Hey, Anne Villa, nice to see you. I'd love to hear about your homeschool. So we can allow them to spend extra time doing the things that really matter to them, go into deep dives, instead of measuring our success as homeschool parents or our kids' success in their home education by an external standard. We can instead focus on their unique journey, because learning happens with one particular person engaging a learning concept or a topic or some sort of activity. It happens uniquely with one child or one person, and we can allow that. We can enable that in our homeschools. So instead of asking, when will my kid catch up, we can ask, are they making progress? The second question is, what is the right curriculum? What is the right curriculum? I have 5 posts or articles on my website about curriculum, and none of them are telling you which curriculum is accurate and right and the best one, because there are hundreds or thousands of opportunities, curriculum options that we can include in our homeschools these days. It's remarkable and amazing and sometimes overwhelming, especially for the new homeschool mom. So instead of asking what is the right curriculum, we can instead ask, what's the right approach for my child or for our specific homeschool family? There's so many options out there, and it's tempting to think that there is a perfect one, but the perfect one does not exist. Instead of searching for the magic bullet of curriculum, as though that will make our homeschool smooth, consider what works best for your specific child, the child right in front of you. Ask yourself what you like to learn and how you like to learn and how you like to teach and how you like to engage learning opportunities, because those things are directly influencing how you are showing up with your kids. Learning happens in many ways. It's not just through a textbook or a workbook. It's not just through structured curriculum. So instead of asking what's the right curriculum, ask yourself what's the right approach to this goal, this learning goal for this child or for my family. So the next question is, shouldn't we be doing more worksheets or using more curriculum? Instead, we can ask ourselves, is our child engaged and really learning? Do they care about what they're doing? Certainly worksheets can be useful. Some kids love them, some kids don't, but some kids love them. Some kids like playing school. And there is many ways to reinforce learning. So if a child actually enjoys learning in a certain way, then apply it. Use that approach. You can use real life experiences like dance. Hey, Terry, nice to see you. Or so many other ways of learning various things. It doesn't have to be curriculum. Homeschooling offers the flexibility to use different learning methods beyond just pencil and paper. It doesn't have to look like school to be learning. You can think storytelling, like enabling your child to share a story for you so that you can learn more about what they know about, or they can learn how to develop stories or develop their thoughts. You can do experiments and play-based learning, all sorts of projects, creative problem solving with games and logic games. There's so many ways to learn, but it doesn't have to all be through the traditional approach of worksheets. So the first, so shouldn't we be doing more worksheets? I would say, well, ask yourself instead, is my child engaged in their learning? The next question often asked is, are we covering everything? I don't know what everything is, but I know for sure that at the end of our homeschool years, our kids will not be able to compete with Wiki. They will not be able to compete to AI or Google or God. And that's not the goal of our education for our children, so that they don't have any missing knowledge bits. What is, in your opinion, what is the goal of education? Your answer can determine how you do a home education. I'm curious what you would say. Would you share in the comments what you determine an education is? Answering that question is profoundly useful in your homeschool piece, really, for you to feel more confident in your homeschool choice. So when we ask the question, are we covering everything? I think instead we need to ask, are we focusing on what really matters? And how you'll know whether something really matters is that the daily activities align with your educational values. When you get clear on what you believe in education really is and why you think the way you think, and ask yourself, your educational values, do they align with the practical day-to-day activities that you're choosing? Do the thing that really matters. Don't ask yourself, are you covering everything? Are you focusing on what really matters? So the next question that often homeschool moms ask is, am I doing this right? I don't know what right is, but I do know that it is dependent on the person that is sharing with me that conversation point. We have different ideas of, am I doing this right? What that actually means. So it's important for you to get clear on what you think right means. Are you comparing it to your experience as a child in a traditional educational program? Or maybe you're a second-gen homeschooler and you're comparing it to the way that your mom did it. You decide what you believe is the best approach to education, but you get to decide. So what does right even mean? Are you doing it right? I would ask instead, is this approach working for my family? It doesn't have to look like a traditional classroom. It doesn't have to be an unschooled home if that doesn't suit you either. I'm meeting a lot of people that are, perhaps they'll define themselves as hybrids. Certainly that was my experience, where I didn't want to be all into any particular method, tried them all, but I wouldn't say that I was devoted particularly to all of them. But I did know one thing. It didn't work to try to force something onto a child that wasn't working for them just because I liked it. And so I learned that all the kids are different. We need to lean into child-inspired learning because it motivates our kids and it brings us greater joy too. So instead of asking, am I doing this right? Ask, is the way I'm doing homeschooling, is it actually working for my kids, for my family? The last question. I don't think you're going to ask this question if you've been homeschooling for a long time, but if you haven't been for a while, or if you have people around you that aren't particularly supportive of your homeschool choice, they might be still asking this question. I know I had this question asked so many times that I don't like talking about it, but I know you know what it is when I say it's the S question. What about socialization? Certainly in my early years, or perhaps in my early months and pre-homeschool years, I was concerned about it myself. I actually was. I wrote it. I shared it with other people that I was concerned about it. But I've learned that the question is not, what about socialization? The question is my child building meaningful connections and able to connect with or communicate with the meaningful, important people in their lives? That's the goal. Because you and I probably both know that there's a myth around this discussion point. Homeschoolers are rarely isolated, although I wouldn't put it past any human being. We all have diverse stories. So I'm not saying that it never happens, but it almost never happens. And it is highly overstated. The myth that homeschoolers are isolated is a myth. Our kids are not locked in the basement. They are doing more activities than school kids because we have more time. And tip from a graduated homeschool mom, it might be less expensive if you give up the mortgage for the house or the rent for the apartment and get a nicer minivan. Because when they move into teenage years, you spend a lot more time in the car, bringing them to all sorts of social experiences, doing social things. So all that, the 6 questions that I think we need to stop asking as homeschool moms or those supporting the homeschool mom, and what to ask instead. I would be curious what you think you ask yourself, that you find a self-defeating question that makes you feel like you're never doing it good enough or you're never doing it right enough. What would you say those questions are? I'd like to hear what they are if you'd like to share in the comment section. I know this as a long-term homeschool mom, graduated homeschool mom of 4, turned certified life coach. And it is that this homeschool thing is a long-term game. You're going to be doing it for, well, as long as you determine to do it. But sometimes it can be a couple decades. So you need to undergird, you really need to reinforce the truths about this homeschool life, to shift unhelpful mindsets that you are routinely challenged by, the thoughts that are really getting you feeling that you're not good enough, feeling like you're not homeschooling right enough, and actually ask yourself, what really matters? What do I believe about an education? Who is the child right in front of me? How do I want to engage them? How do I need to show up in healthier ways so that I can serve them and enjoy my days and enable them to enjoy their days too? So all of that, if you are interested in joining me for a no obligation conversation to discuss any of these challenges further, you're welcome to do that. Just ask me for my booking link and I'm happy to get that for you. And if you haven't already, you're welcome to sign up for the Live Your Life on Purpose checklist for homeschool moms. When we live ourselves a little bit more aligned to who we are and what our values are, we become clearer on what matters to us. And we also, therefore, enable our kids to get clear on what matters to them. We build a whole bunch more space, margins, and breathing space into our homeschool mom life so we can enjoy our homeschool mom journey. I hope this has been helpful for you. Every week, 1 p.m. Pacific, I'm here on the Homeschool Mom Chat. If you have questions or topics that you would like me to address, also drop them in the comments below. I hope you have a beautiful week. We'll talk to you soon.